Yeah, I'm going to make a series starting now on finding, installing, figuring out, ordering which parts, what not to do, what to do for the HO manifolds, high performance manifolds that Pontiac offered in earlier years on some of the quote high performance engines. Right now we're looking at a picture I found of my car. I just thought it makes me feel good that I'm past this point. You can see the quarter panel hanging off, but this is way earlier. I just happened to come across it. Oh, and then right in the beginning of this video, I'm just going to put a short clip and the power goes out. And I did find right here, I found this piece of trim, and I'll just show you how to tell how you can identify it if you're looking for it, because I didn't know what it looked like. So I'll do the best I can. I might repeat myself because as time goes by you forget what you say the day before. And if you got any questions, ask me. But I think after you watch all this, if you want to do it, you'll be able to do it. And I'll show like I always do, I show my mistakes, my screw-ups, and I think that's part of it. That's part of the fun of it for me. So that's the best I can explain it right now. Yeah, for anybody that's not watched my channel before, it's just kind of I guess a vlog or a blog. Just a continual thing. But I'm going to show you some new information for anybody that is interested. So right there on this desk, on that table, or that cart, I didn't know what this piece looked like here. This is the rear headliner trim. This is the front headliner trim. I had this piece. I had to find that one. So the difference is this one's pretty curved on the end for the front windshield. This is the rear windshield. I mean, if you run across a pile of parts, the front on a straight line is 47, and the back is 40 1/4. Then I bought some, it says 50 windshield and rear window clips. They're all metal. I've been debating whether to get plastic or metal, because they show a lot of videos show plastic on the front, but I was going to use metal on all of it. Then I got this for like $8. It's supposed to slip underneath the windshield to loosen the clips. Some hooks. Some band-aids because I cut my arm the other day. Always be prepared. And this stuff, I don't know if I talked about lava soap. This works better than any hand cleaner that I can find. I'm telling you, it's made by manufactured for WD-40 company. So I just keep this outside in the water. I'm telling you, this stuff works great. This says WD-40 right there. If you can see that. Again, I don't know where the camera is. Yeah, I just thought I'd show this. I'm down in the shop, ready to work. It's 11:45. I think it's the 15th, and the power just went off. I'm starting to want to start this engine. It's been sitting in there for like, I don't know, a year and a half. But anyway, the reasons I haven't is because I don't have the exhaust system, and I didn't want to start it up with open exhaust to drive my neighbors crazy. That's one of the reasons. But anyway, so I'm going to talk about it a little bit. And the reason, again, I keep jumping around and I can't help it. But like, I bought window clips. This is like 3 or 4 days later. And the window clips didn't fit. they were too loose. I don't think I have a video of that. But so now I'm gonna go over what you need to add in these high performance exhaust. In other words, you could have stock manifolds, exhaust manifolds. You could have the what Pontiac made in certain years, and I'll go over into that later, or headers. So I'm just going to show you what came with the car. The difference between headers and stock manifolds is like the difference between blowing through a straw, you know, a real small hole, or a big hole. The bigger the hole, the better the air is going to go through. So that's what headers are all about, or different manifolds and exhaust pipes, and how once it gets out of the manifold, how fast can it get out. Here's my stock manifold. And here's the, for a better term right now, I'm just going to call them high performance Pontiac. They came in certain years with these. You see the difference? They're trying to get more air out. So these are, and there's different types. These are called D type. There's also a round, which is called I don't know, round port. This is called D port. So these will bolt onto my car. These, I'm just going to call them HO, high performance, whatever you want to call them. These will bolt onto my car, just like these will. But the benefit of this, again, is air. And you can see there's a difference in design from one side to the other. And it has to do with space in the engine compartment. But once it gets out of here, so now let's say, well, the other thing is, you know, I'm just going to go over the basics. You got to have a gasket, and you got to make sure, if you are lucky enough to find these, that these are straight. If they're not, you're going to have to machine them completely flat, or they could leak. Take it to a machine shop or something. I mean, you can just lay a straight edge on here. Doing some research, more information, trying to get the right pipe so I can make it as easy as possible. But then you're going to have flanges. So when you get your tailpipe, the downpipe they call it, it's going to come down, go towards the back, towards the transmission tunnel. You're going to need some of these. Now, this particular set, and I'm not sure about all brands, I just don't know, but this has got 2 bolts. This has got 3 bolts. So what I have right now, I have 2, 3 bolts. So let's just see if this will work on here. So this would not even work on the 2 bolt. The 3 bolt it would. But again, well, the idea is that it's going to slip onto the pipe and it's going to hold it on there like that. So you got to have an exhaust manifold, a gasket, exhaust manifold, a downpipe, some flanges to hold the downpipe on. The thing is, there's different kinds of gaskets, you know. So you want to get whatever they used when they, you know, the manifold gasket. You want to get what they used from the factory, and I think it was a metal type of gasket that would compress. But what was I going to say? Oh, getting to the exhaust. So once it goes down to the downpipes, you got a bunch of options. You can just run straight, put a muffler here and a muffler here, and then just go straight out the back. You know how you see the tailpipes going out the back? Or you can get an X pipe. It'll come out like this. It'll go together. It'll cross and then go out. So I'm going to go with what I just explained with the X pipe, and I'll go into this in a little more detail when I go back upstairs. But So then it's going to cross, the air can cross. So they have H pipes, they can call it. You know, so the two exhaust pipes coming out, they have some that are just like straight across. It's for balancing the air. And they have X pipe. So after it leaves the X pipe, it's going to go back into two lines, and then in this case, there's one muffler right behind the gas tank. So the muffler is going to be laying like, just for an example, here's the muffler. This is what I have closest. Here's the gas tank. So it's going to be like that, right behind the gas tank. Of course, it's not that tall. So the one pipe is going to come in and go into this side and out. The other pipe is going to go in and out over here. So that way you only need one muffler, less restriction. In 67, I think in 67 and 68 they came out with the F-body. I don't know everything about this, but that was the first generation, 67 to like February of 70. And then in 70 they went into the second generation, and I think that ran all the way to 81. And then 81, somewhere they went to the third generation. Now I don't know right at this point in time, I don't know the real differences between first generation and second generation, except the first generation was not in the it was the ending. The smog really started getting heavy right about 70. And that's why so basically they started restricting the airflow, and the horsepower went down in the attempt to get cleaner emissions. Why headers? Why not stock manifold? And why not these high performance exhausts, which are just kind of like headers? In fact, they're probably equal to headers if you look into tests. But so one of the advantages to not getting headers, to using these HO manifolds, is that all your stock stuff will fit. You might, headers, you might have trouble with the starter, depending on the brand and so on. The starter, oil filter casing, and so on. So with these, you're not going to have that problem. And headers are lower. I mean, I'm sure I don't know everything about headers, but they are going to be lower to the ground. If you're going to lower your car, you just take into mind to try to find headers that are way up. But how you find that information, I don't know. So that's why I'm going with it. I'm going with these because I don't want ground clearance problems. I don't want starter clearance problems. I don't want any oil filter casing housings. I don't want any problems at all. So one of these I bought at the grave. My video way back, I went to the grave, which I call it the Trans Am graveyard. And one of these was like hanging on a wall. I just said, "Hey, how much do you want for that?" And he said $60, so I bought it. The other one I got off eBay. Now the difference, I don't know if these are a factory or not, but this one says GM3 on it, and then I can't even see the number. And this one has a number on it. So I would say if you're going to look for these, try to find the one with the number. This is 9799720 right hand. And while we're talking about it, I noticed I carried these old intakes down from upstairs. This thing, completely full of, I don't know what it's full of. Look at that. And if you're not interested in it, if you want to just go with your stock manifolds, that's fine. I mean, who cares? But I did up the compression, and I just want a little bit more airflow, because it's not going to be like this year was 180 horsepower, I think. Well, Well, I want to get up to like 290. I just want a little bit more airflow. That's why I'm doing this. And it's cool, okay? Because it's one of those changes I make. Like I put the disc brakes on, I put the T-top on, I'm putting these on. It's just, you can do whatever you want with your car. And when I was a kid, in the 70s, you know, I'm old, they had a local speed shop everywhere. I mean, like we used to go bowling once in a while. Across the street was a speed shop, and they sold headers and Holley carburetors and torque converters, but I don't think it's like that anymore. I mean, maybe it's because of where I live, but now you're buying everything online. So you gotta be really careful what you buy. And the other thing to watch out for is, me personally, this is what I've learned doing this for a couple of years. Try to get to the source of who makes the part. Like 100 different stores might sell, 100 different places might sell these manifolds. But get as close to the source as you can, and hopefully you get a cheaper price and people that can talk more technical about what is right and wrong. And the other thing you want to watch out is for shipping. Some people like eBay. They might sell a $30 part for 10 bucks, but then the shipping is $30. So that's how I do it. And then you try to then I call these people up, like I'm going to get my exhaust system from a place called Pipes. But it turns out Summit Racing, Jegs, Amazon, eBay, they're all selling their parts. So I got in contact with a tech guy at Pipes, and he actually told me, don't buy them through us because you're going to have to pay shipping. He says go to Jegs, Jegs. He says they don't charge shipping, and they're closer to you because he's way across the country. So then I go look at Jegs. Again, you got to be real careful. And they got two different kinds that look exactly the same that are $100 cheaper. One's made by Jegs, one's made by Pipes. So then you got to read the fine print. What's the difference? Well, you don't really know, man. So I say try to stick with the manufacturer who bought it as close as you can. But anyway, the hardware, the pipes I'm buying are going to come with hangers, clamps, instructions. I want to just, hopefully, again, this is going to be in the future, because right now this is the other thing about, like, now that I'm seriously looking into starting the engine, I can't just go down and buy these parts. I got to order them. And we know what's going on in the world right now. Things are being held up in ports and everything. And then another thing is, before you order, be careful and see if you can see how far out the manufacturing or delivery time is. I mean, some of these people are saying 2-3 months. So you got to watch out for price, shipping, the length it's going to take to you until they even get the part to ship it to you, or if they ever get it. And but anyway, I'm going to go into, I'm going to show you what I ordered. Just if you're interested, if you want to do this, and I'm going to try to explain why. I'm also going to find out what is the difference between the first generation and the second generation. I mean, did the frame width change? What happened? I know that in the earlier years they had a lot more chrome, and then they got rid of the chrome because they're trying to save on weight, and then they had to have, and all the safety things came in. They had to have like rubber bumpers so you could take an impact, which you can't take with chrome metal, and so on and so on. So I got, just to say it again, I got the seat belts figured out, I got the windows trim figured out, I got the weather stripping figured out with the T-top. I just can't put all this stuff on because I need to prime the car. But the exhaust I can put on, I can start the car. So I'm going through a process, figure it out, take some pictures, put it in one area, move on. Do it again, move on. Do it again, move on. And then one day it's all going to come together. So another thing about this exhaust is it's going to make me have to put in my radiator hoses, some of the wiring, figure out the distributor, see if the carburetor is any good. You know, fluids, gotta put fluid in the transmission. All it has is assembly lube in it. And so on and so on. So this is gonna be spread out, and I'm really not gonna even start until I get the parts, and I don't know how long it's gonna be. So that's the way this world goes. These are supposed to have studs in it, so I gotta get studs too. So the flange on the downpipe, if you're ever taking an exhaust apart, again, this is going to hold the pipe tight, but then you're going to the bolts are going to come through like this, and you're going to tighten it up, and that's what's going to hold it. And this has got kind of a round thing on it. So there's no gasket on these. It's just the steel to steel. So it actually goes like that. If you look at this, there's a flat side and a round side, or it's concave. That's going to fit on there like that. Kind of like a plumbing connection. It's not going to go like that. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. But I mean, logic says it should go like that, okay? I'm up at the house now. The shop's down there. But anyway, so getting back to this is what I figured out about parts. Get as close to the source of the people that make them, and then question the heck out of them. You'll see what I'm talking about if you find, like, if you're doing these exhaust system. And then once you figure out and you're comfortable that they know what they're talking about, then you can go to other sites and use that part number to try to find the parts cheaper. So like I went to pipes and I talked to the tech guy, and he said go somewhere else. But then I started looking at, you know, if they had them in stock or how long their waiting time was, and some other people had them. They did have them in stock, or they say they do. You never know. And anyway, that's what I suggest. Go to the source, find out what you can, because they made them. They probably know what fits the best. Because let's face it, most of these people out here, Summit and everything, they don't make any parts. Jegs doesn't make any parts. They're just resellers. So that's why I say go to as far as you can to the top of the manufacturer. You might get a better price. You might get cheaper shipping, but then you can, once you are sure of the part you need, then get that part number. And I found out that the part number from pipes is what they use on Summit and Jegs and Amazon and eBay. So anyway, that's my advice. Yeah, as I'm putting this series together, I'm up in my office, I call it. But as I'm putting the series together, I think of different things, so I'm just going to add them in when I think of them. And I touched upon, well, anyway, so what I want to bring up right now is, if you look at this from the side, maybe you can't tell, but another thing is you have to make sure you order the right manifold bolts. Like this one is, I don't know, I'm just going to exaggerate. That one's maybe inch and a half, inch and a half, inch and a half. So maybe all three of these are the same. And there's only 3 bolts in this manifold. Now this other one, I think, and I'm not sure why they did that, but that's what it is. So in this one, there's like, this one's different than this. This is different than that. This is different than that. So that's just one more thing. You got to make sure that you order a set. Again, if you're what we're trying to do is we're trying to get ready to the day when we can install these. But to do that, you got to make sure you have all the parts. And if you wait till the last day, it might take 3 weeks to get the bolts. And again, I got to get the right flanges. So I just threw this in right now. I'm thinking about it, and I think I mentioned. Yeah, I already talked about. Make sure that you get the ones that fit your car, and I know 76 is a D port, they do make these in the round port. Yeah, just to talk about this a little bit further. I mean, I just said the bolts are different. Okay, I mean, that seems like, I mean, that's pretty obvious. But when you go to look for them online, they don't say what the lengths are. So it's like, I mean, I've been looking. So I decided to make a list. I'm starting a list of what each length bolt is I need. I mean, I could go to the hardware store, I guess, and buy them. But anyway, that's just one more issue that you have to think about is when you try to order them, you better know what you're ordering because I've been looking and there's all kinds of different sizes.